This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Know-How is brought to you by CashFly.
This episode of Know-How is brought to you by IT Pro TV. IT Pro TV is an easy, entertaining approach to online IT training. For a free 7-day trial and 30% off the life of your account, go to itpro.tv/knowhow and use the code KNOWHOW30. And by DigitalOcean. Simple and fast cloud hosting built for developers. Deploy an SSD cloud server in 55 seconds. Try it today for free. Visit DigitalOcean.com. And once you sign up, be sure to enter the promo code KNOWHOW in the billing section to get your $10 credit. Today on Know-How,
you'll know about our virtual augmented gaming reality.
welcome to Know-How. It's the Twitch show where we build, bend, break, and upgrade. I'm Father Robert Balloser.
I'm Brian Burnett.
And for the next 30 to 45 minutes, we're going to show you some of the things that we've been geeking out with so you can take them home and geek out on your own. Brian.
Yes.
This has been an episode that's been a while in coming because you are now my field producer.
Right.
Right now you're the field producer in training. You're learning the trade from Colleen.
Lots of training going on, and so that means we've done a lot of events, a lot of traveling, a lot of long days.
Long days.
Tired.
Which we love.
Yes. No, it's been a blast, and we've learned a lot, and we've seen a lot of cool stuff from the Augmented Expo that we went to, the Lenovo World stuff that we went to, and then just more recently E3, which was like a dream come true for me. But we had mentioned it on the previous episode that how a lot of these technologies are starting to become more and more interconnected. I thought it might be a good idea to do an episode about all the things we've seen.
Exactly. So what we wanted to do when we were talking about this is we like the content that we make on the road, and we always like to bring it into Know-How because we don't like just using it in the special. We want little bits and pieces that are custom crafted for the Know-How audience. So as you mentioned, we're going to check out Augmented World Expo, which was all about AR. It was really big into AR and wearable technologies, using tech to get data points from real life. Then of course Lenovo Tech World, which honestly, I didn't think it was going to be a special. I thought I was just going to go for fun, and then
because we've never covered that event before, so we didn't really know what to expect.
But it was kind of fun. It was still kind of fun.
It was definitely fun,
it was different.
And yeah, the more and more I think about Project Tango and Lenovo's phone, the first Tango phone that they've released, like. These are definitely the early days of this sort of thing. Like right now we're kind of living through the Stone Age, or like the baby steps of AR and VR, and like, you know, with the Oculus and the Vive and like all that stuff, is that the hardware we have now has kind of surpassed where the software is.
Yes.
And they're like really trying to figure out ways to implement these systems, but you know, stumbling is part of that. Failure is part of that. And when we went to Lenovo, like, you can see where the direction is going, and it's going to be really cool. But right now, it's still a little, you know, in its infancy.
It's in its infancy, but we're seeing that. And I think what brought it together was E3, because we saw a lot of technology that looks very promising, but we need content to fill the pipes.
You need to get it into the hands of the developers, to generate new ideas, to actually make something out of it. Yeah, and E3 is like the place to do it because there's so many creative minds. Like the collective of gaming intelligence at E3 blew me away.
Right. So without further ado, what we're going to do for you is we're actually going to take you to Lenovo Tech World. It was here in San Francisco not too long ago. Yes, it was a specific vendor event. They were only showing off Lenovo technology. But Brian, you had a chance to speak with an Intel representative who you spent a little more time there than anything else.
You know, there's certain things that catch my eye, and Rocket League would be one of them, especially 3 curved monitors all playing Rocket League, where the perspective is actually skewed so that it looks like it's in your peripheral vision. So yeah, I kind of wanted to go talk to the guys over there at that booth.
Let's find out what Brian had to say to Intel at Lenovo Tech World.
Brian Burnett here, and we're checking out the Lenovo gaming booth. I'm here with Jeff. Jeff, why don't you explain to me what it is you do and what you're showing off here?
So my goal for Lenovo is basically to engage with community. You know, a lot of OEMs actually go with a product basis, and we actually are taking more of the community approach. because we're brand new. Alienware's been around for about 20 years. We've only been around for 1. So our goal is we launched the first set of products, which was 4 products, and now we're getting community engagement and community feedback on how to grow that brand and what do they actually want. And what we're doing here is we have a great green scheme set up for people that actually want to take pictures of our Y900. We have the new Y900 laptop coming out, and then we're showing our brand new 3-up display with 3 Y27G rated monitors all together playing Rocket League from Psionic, and it is just, people are having a blast.
Yeah, so you just mentioned about Alienware and such, and I've been reviewing the Acer Predator G6, another gaming machine. Now, what impresses me a lot about this machine that you have right here is just how clean it is. Like, this is definitely a machine that you could, like a plug-and-play machine you could buy, but also for the enthusiasts who'd want to, mod it later in the future. Now, I noticed you're not using liquid cooling. What was the idea behind this design strategy?
A lot of it was just to get really clean on it. What we knew is we had 2 different types of people that wanted to buy a computer from us. We have the younger crew that may not be able to afford a really top-tier computer quite yet, but we know that they're gamers. They're enthusiasts about it. We wanted to give them something they could easily upgrade over the years. We didn't want to be that company where you have to buy a brand new chassis every 2 years. We wanted to make sure that you could keep this for 5-6 years and keep upgrading it as you wanted to. But then you have that other side of people like myself who have kids now, and while we used to game all the time, we don't have the time anymore. So we want to make sure that the rig was solid and strong so I could drop it and play anything in Ultra and anything we wanted. So a lot of the reason for that clean upgradability is the fact that we do want people to feel as though they're not locked into something. With the new GTX 1080 cards coming out, we thought ahead of time thinking that people would be upset that they got the 980s wishing they had got the 1080s. Now they don't have to. Now all they do is in 2 seconds, it's completely toolless. They pop it out, pop the new one in, load the drivers, and you're off and running just like that.
That's awesome, because I know as a PC builder myself, I want the option to, I have video card envy. When a new card comes out, I want the new card. I want the option to be able to slip in the new one, no problem. And speaking of using the 980, we've got these 3 screens with G-Sync playing Rocket League. I was a little skeptical. I sat down. I haven't played on 3 screens, curved screens like this before, but really it engulfs your peripheral vision, which totally changed the experience. Can you tell me about these screens here and stuff?
Sure. So there are brand new screens. They're coming out in October, if not a little bit sooner. They're called Y27G. We're gonna have G series, which are G-Sync. We'll have FreeSync for the AMD people, and then we'll actually have a Razer edition in October as well, which will sync up with our Y900 Razer edition. And it has the cool green features and the chroma and all that stuff in the back. So we're pretty happy with them. They're 4 millisecond refresh rate. They're 1080p. We didn't go with the 4K because we felt that a lot of gamers thought that 1080p was enough, and that sometimes 4K, especially with 3 screens together, was a little bit of overkill. It doesn't mean we won't get there eventually, but we wanted to at least start. Again, we want to start with what we know that gamers want, and they will tell us how to expand in the future. Instead of using tons and tons of market research, we'd rather take that money and put it into the community and do cool events and make cool stuff like this in partnerships with Rocket League and things of that nature with Psionic. So it really does encompass a lot of your site. It's almost kind of jarring when you first do it. The first couple seconds, you're like, oh my gosh, I can see everything. And then as soon as you get into it, you're like, this is amazing. And it really does change a little bit of gaming, and that's what we're trying to do time over time, is just change a little bit more of gaming.
You also mentioned that you're partnering with Razer, so you've got a controller from Razer here. Razer Wildcat. No, it looks like a really nice complete setup.
The good thing about Razer is they have that kind of that top-end enthusiast gaming stuff, where we have the entry level to mid-level. We want to make sure that we have something for everybody. The reason we grouped up with Razer is because they are a fantastic company that gives us that span into that kind of upper echelon of gamers. But with this, we have a mechanical keyboard, which we're getting rave reviews about. We have a mouse, we have a headset that is right here, and we're really giving a gamer at any point in time the ability to jump in and actually have the complete set without feeling like they have to spend $5,000 to get it. This whole set right up here, if you didn't have the monitors, you just wanted the desktop, and then the keyboard and the mouse, those all come together for just over $2,000, or even less if you want to get a GTX 970, and you're up in gaming with everything you want. The headset's another $70.
Well, I think if you're a gamer looking for something that you can just plug and play and start gaming right away, but you want the option to be modular and upgrade in the future, Lenovo's the opportunity for that.
I could see why. Oh,
hey, is it?
you're getting back into gaming?
I'll put that away.
We'll talk about that in a bit because actually that something cool did happen at E3. But I said I see why you liked that setup so much.
Why it was so eye-catching?
It's kind of beautiful, but it should be mentioned that you couldn't just plug 3 monitors into a PC and play Rocket League on 3 monitors.
Right.
So Lenovo and Intel was working with the creators of Rocket League to make that little 3-monitor expensive setup.
Right. So the studio, I think Psionic, that makes Rocket League, they actually have to program it so that the other 2 monitors kind of skew towards what it would be like if it was in your peripheral vision. And so when you're playing the game, I actually thought it was a little bit more engaging than like playing in VR. Because when you wear VR goggles, it definitely takes up your full field of view.
You lose your peripheral vision.
You lose the peripheral vision, and even though when I was playing a game, you know, I could see over the top of the monitors and below the monitors, but when you're playing a game like Rocket League, at 90 degrees, you can see where the ball movement is, you can see where players are coming in, and in a gaming environment, that's like key. Like you would know if somebody's trying to sneak up around you or something like that. So it really felt like I was, you know, in the game and I could see well. The only downside is it does have that black bezel, but honestly, like I didn't even really notice it after a while.
Well, that's the thing about a well-crafted game. If it draws you in, your mind kind of abstracts out all the things you don't need. But I didn't really see the value of the multi-monitor setup until I watched you play a little bit, and I make, that makes sense, because it's not just 3 monitors with a really wide aspect. It's a central monitor that has the standard screen, and then the other 2 monitors, it's almost as if it's like a stretching effect.
It is, yeah.
So that your eyes, the corners of your eyes, would see as if you're driving in a car, because you don't see the same out of the side of your eyes as you do straight from the front.
Right.
Which that's actually a cool trick of programming.
It is, and we've had 2 monitors floating around the studio. The 32-inch Predator G-Sync monitor that is awesome. It does 4K. I love that monitor. Everything looks really super sharp on it. But we also had the one that Leo got for the VR machine, and it's almost too widescreen.
Right.
Yeah, like it's really short this way, but really long this way. And I never really found the appeal to a curved screen. And I kind of prefer my 32-inch just regular flat screen to that curved one. But when you put those 3 curved monitors together, it really took up the field of view. And I was like, okay, like that makes sense. Yeah.
That being said, if someone was to send me 3 curved monitors, I probably wouldn't turn it down.
No, absolutely not. Or that PC, because
that's a nice PC.
I can't remember if I mentioned in the interview, but you can upgrade it to SLI also. So it's definitely like an enthusiast plug-and-play PC.
Right, and like we like the Predator G6 from Acer because it is turnkey gaming, but as we've mentioned a couple of times, the upgradability is a little bit limited. Yes, you can replace the video card, the processor, the memory, all that stuff, but it's not like you could add in a second video card. It doesn't do that.
It wouldn't be SLI, and the internals are a little something to be left desired because the wire management wasn't that good. It really is like just to be looked at from the outside, whereas that Lenovo PC was like, you know, very modular, very good wire management, and you could switch out. I was talking to Jeff before. He's like, I've switched out different PSUs, and it took me like 10 minutes to do that because we were going to do an SLI setup. So I needed a bigger PSU, so I switched it out, and it's like pretty cool.
I would like to see that setup with maybe 2 GTX 1080s.
Yeah, he said he was already working on that because you know every time they announce a new card, you get the like video card envy, and he's like, so we've been talking about getting those cards right away for our next iteration.
So when he sends us the reviewing it, can you ask him if you could just stock it with 2 1080?
Yeah, and then just throw in a couple of 980s, you know, just so we can see the difference.
Exactly,
really,
right?
Yeah,
and we'll probably get it back to him within a year.
In like a year. A long-term review, definitely.
Well, folks, when we come back, we're going to bring you from Lenovo in San Francisco down to Santa Clara for Augmented World Expo. This was the first time we ever went to this event. Actually, there's a lot of firsts for our live events because TWiT is really sort of branching out into getting the news in the field. It was dedicated entirely to augmented reality, a little bit of virtual reality, and a lot of wearables. So if you wanted to see how those worlds collide, stick around for Augmented World Expo. But before we get there, let's go ahead and thank the sponsor of this episode of Know How. Hey, Brian, you know, one of the things that I get asked most often is how do I get into IT?
Right.
it's a little daunting. I mean,
Definitely.
when you look at the technology that's there and how fast it's moving, it's easy to get overwhelmed, to think, I'll never get this. Or if you're really dedicated to it, to take the classes, it's kind of a chore.
Right.
Or to find an apprenticeship is very, very difficult, even though that's the why I would suggest. People want a way to learn IT, to learn about the skills you need and about the different pieces of hardware and software that you'll be working with, the different methodologies of assembling a network, and they want to learn all of that on their own terms.
Right. So you're talking about like kind of a live streaming thing that you can watch videos online and stuff.
Hey, that's a heck of an idea. I wish
With
there
like
was a company like that.
a studio
Yeah.
inspired by like the original screensavers.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Luckily, it exists. It's called IT Pro TV. Now, IT Pro TV is the best way for you to learn or to refresh your IT skills. If you're someone trying to break into the IT field, or if you're an IT professional looking to update or keep current the skill set that you already have, IT Pro TV is for you. IT Pro TV comes complete with over 1,000 hours of content and more than 30 hours that are added each and every single week. So you'll always find something that's new, something that's fresh. You can stream their courses live and on demand worldwide to your Chromecast, your Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or your PC. You have the freedom to learn at your own pace and on the go with your mobile device, with your desktop, your laptop, wherever it may be. And that's so important when you're trying to learn. You don't want to have to be constrained by the delivery of the content. You just want to focus on learning. Now, IT Pro TV is the first IT provider with courses for sale through Amazon Video Direct. While subscriptions are still the best value, we're excited to see IT Pro TV's content available for purchase on Amazon because it means their audience grows. It means they have a wider reach, and that's what we want for the Twit Army. Their transcripts let you follow from start to finish or jump to any part of a video. So, for example, if you have a question about a particular part of the IP stack, you don't have to sit through the entire series of videos on IP stack. You could say, look, tell me about the transport layer. It will find that part in the transcript and then jump you to that part of a particular video. It's really that simple. It's a way to Google your way to a more complete IT understanding. Now, their courses include Linux Plus, SSH, Wireshark, Python programming, and more. They recently completed CISA, a globally recognized certification in the field of audit, control, and security of information systems with Cybex author Brian O'Hara. Their June courses will include CCNA Security, that's Cisco, VCP6, which is VMware, and Adam Gordon's Return for CEH version 9. They also give you 100 step-by-step virtual machine labs and transcender practice exams, which is a $109 value. And of course, you can take advantage of their low monthly subscription price and no hassle cancellation policy. Now, what does it mean when they say no hassle? It really means no hassle. This is not one of those services that will make it easy for you to sign up, but so difficult for you to cancel. They want you to have the best experience possible, and that means canceling when you want to. If you're currently signed up for an enterprise account with IT Pro TV, with one of their competitors, and you're subject to rate increases, IT Pro TV will match your previous year's pricing of that account so that you and your team can learn at an affordable rate. IT Pro TV's clients include Harvard, MIT, UCSD, Stanford, and more. If they trust IT Pro TV, don't you think that you should too? Here's what we want you to do. We want you to check out itpro.tv/knowhow. and upgrade your brain with the most popular IT certifications. Premium subscriptions are normally $57 a month or $570 per year, but we have a special offer just for you. Try it free for 7 days when you sign up using our code KNOWHOW30 to check out their courses, their live stream, and more. You'll also receive 30% off the lifetime of your account. That's less than $40 per month or $399 for the entire year. Just visit itpro.tv/knowhow. and use the code KNOWHOW30 to try it free for 7 days, plus save 30% off the life of your account. IT Pro TV, a better career awaits. And we thank IT Pro TV for their support of Know-How. Hey, Brian.
Yo.
You know what I would love?
What's that?
I would love to get augmented.
Careful what you wish for, Padre.
Right?
Careful what you wish for.
The very first thing that we checked out at the Augmented World Expo was actually something that I saw last year at the Intel Developer Forum at the Moscone Center in San Francisco. Interesting concept of video games meshed with reality, meshed with an easily malleable surface.
Right. What was that?
I don't know. Let's find out.
If you think you know what augmented reality is, no. You don't. We're here with Alex, who's going to explain why Torch is the next generation of interactive game. Alex, this is a sandbox, but it's also a video game. Tell me what I'm looking at.
Yeah, so what you're looking at is Torch. It's our interpretive projector system. And so it allows us to do interactive sandbox as well as interactive tabletop gaming and experiences. So right now we're looking at Super Tanked. It's a 2 to 4 player arcade-style tank battle where players build their battlefield using the sand. The higher they are on a hill or mountain, the farther they can shoot.
Oh, it seems like an interesting application. Now, I just played it, and so what you do is you can actually change the sand with your hands, or real-world hands, to change the environment inside the game, and that will just then determine how your tank travels over terrain. People may look at this and say, okay, it's a video game, but what I'm most interested in is the fact that you use Intel's RealSense camera to be able to detect what has happened to the sand, and then it uses that data to build the virtual environment. What other applications might we have for this kind of technology?
Well, it's dynamic world building using real-world sand. So we currently use it with the military to do mission planning. They're able to project down a map and build up their sand to that map. We're also looking into education. So things like geology, where you could teach kids about different layers in the rock, or biology, where you build a world for animals to migrate around. So we're looking at different things like that. And then also with flat tabletop surfaces, we're looking into restaurants and bars to project down a menu. You order your drinks and your food, and then while you wait, you play air hockey.
Of course, that is one level, but what I really love is the fact that in both VR and AR, there has always been the idea of being able to manipulate something, but the problem has been you're not actually manipulating anything. You might be moving a cursor, moving a pointer. If you can have a RealSense camera or a similar technology actually detect what you've done to an object, and then it can automatically take that information and build the 3D model based on it, it opens up not just display options, but architectural options.
Exactly. I mean, what we're looking to do is, by using a projector, by using 3D depth camera, we're able to change the actual object, the way it looks, to project a new image on top and dynamically do that in real time without wearables, without holding an iPad in front of you. We're actually changing the real thing.
Alex, this is very cool. Now, if they want to find out more about Torch, if they want to find out more about your company, more about where maybe they might be able to actually get their hands on one of these, where can they go?
Yeah, so if you want to find out more about it, go to www.experiencetorch.com.
Alex, thank you very much for speaking with us. Thank you for sharing your tech. And folks, if you want to play with augmented reality, try Torch, because it's lit.
Get it? Because it's a torch.
Right. Got lit up like you did at the end there.
Hey, all I know is I destroyed you.
Right. You didn't realize, though, that your frenemy was going to attack you.
I thought it was 2-on-2, right. And so we destroyed the two of you, and then he started shooting at me from behind. I'm like, wait, what's going on, bro? Wait, what?
He had the high ground, Padre. You didn't stand a chance.
I know. The cool thing about something like that is the ability to like reach in and actually physically change something with your hands. I was thinking, even without the projector, what you could do, like say a racing game, I would love to be able to change the course and then have it map out and then generate in real time, like on a standard 2D screen.
That would be awesome. Or if you have the opportunity to like make blockades or something to stop someone's progress as they're trying to race through the course.
Or what if like shooting at sand in the game made the sand in real life like move?
Oh,
that's weird.
Like it had mechanisms underneath the sand that could like make pits and stuff like that?
Just saying. Cool. I'm just saying, just next generation here.
Yeah, the idea that you can project the landscape and it senses the depth is pretty neat.
Yeah, it's very cool. And that's all a function of the Intel RealSense 3D camera, which I have one now, and I've been playing around with it. It's actually pretty cool. You can do a lot of Project Tango-ish type things with depth sensing, because like for example right now I have I'm trying out a new thing for the car where you put it on the front and it's not just distance from you, but it's intelligent. Like it will be able to tell the difference between a piece of cardboard being held up and a wall. And you can do that with depth sensing, and that's actually very good at it.
Nice.
Yeah. Of course, Augmented World wasn't just about finding new ways to play video games. One of the things I really liked about the conference is the fact that it was into practical use of augmented and virtual reality. One of the things that we saw at the very beginning, right after we played within the sandbox, was a welding simulator.
Right, which, you know, as a game probably wouldn't be that much fun, but if you've ever tried welding, it's hard and it's a little bit dangerous, and there's always the chance that you could burn yourself. But if it's an AR sort of situation, you can practice and get the technique with the visor and everything, and without the danger of actually hurting yourself.
Precisely. This is one of the things that I am most excited by in augmented reality, because VR I think of as a great content consumption device, but when you start doing augmented reality, you start getting into making things better in the world we actually live in.
Right.
And if I can get training without either damaging equipment or myself, it's fantastic. Now the problem is, it's difficult to explain to someone exactly how this is better than doing standard welding training. So instead of me trying to explain it, why don't we just show you?
One of the promises of augmented reality is that it allows us to better our skills without destroying things in the real world. But what does it do for welding? I'm here with Pedro from Seabury, who's going to explain why AR is a welder's best friend. Now, Pedro, any of our audience members who have ever tried to TIG or MIG welding knows that it's all about angle, it's all about speed, it's all about consistency. But practicing on real steel, on real metals, is often very frustrating. You and Seabury have come up with a better way. Explain.
Right. Well, actually, you're right. So one of the great values of this is that students that will need to learn how to weld, they're frustrated when they're welding a welding piece, and then they see the results and they don't know how they did in the exercise. Now, with this product, not only you can see as you're welding, the system will give you actually feedback on how you're doing in terms of the skills, the arc length, the travel angle, etc. But also you can see after you do the exercise, replay the entire thing at any time and review that with an instructor and see how you need to improve. Now, we have this product in 45 countries all over the world and in training schools. The great thing is it saves about 50% of the consumables. So, you have a great saving for the schools, so schools can bring more students into the class, because one of the biggest problems for welding in school is the cost. It's very expensive. Now, you also can attract newer generations that are intimidated and frustrated by real welding. Once they learn how to do the basics of welding, then they can go to the booth. This doesn't replace the welding booth, but it's really enhanced the whole process of training. And that was our goal and motivation from the beginning. And I mean, the market is telling us that, I guess we were right in that sort of hinge of utilizing augmented reality for this specific application. There are other systems that use virtual reality. Augmented reality is better, and I'll tell you why. Because in welding, you need to touch the piece. So when you have this piece in your hand, you can actually, and welding, you can do this in augmented reality. You cannot do that with virtual. In virtual, you are completing a virtual wall. Augmented, you are in this wall, but when you see this piece, it becomes carbon and steel. So we found that augmented is really a better technology for welding training. And, as we said before, we have a lot of advantages versus traditional welding training. So.
Oh, what I really love about this is the fact that I've got that helmet. So I've got a welder's mask on. I've got something that looks like the actual TIG or MIG welding tool. And as you said, I can touch it, but it's not just being graded. It's not just having an instructor come over and say, that was a good job, that was a bad job, here are a few things you can try. You can actually replay your entire welding lesson, and it will tell you your angle was wrong, or your arc length was off, or you went too fast or too slowly, or you burned through the material here. That kind of feedback after the fact, that gets me excited. Where do you see this kind of technology used next? Because I think it has an incredible future in training, but what's after welding?
We are at an augmented reality, really a training company, and there's a lot of applications. The key is every single sort of trade where you need to use manual skills. Think about, for example, healthcare. There's a lot of applications in healthcare. This is actually a welder, have a lot of the same skills as a surgeon. So, there's a lot of possibilities there. That's a big area of growth, probably for the whole industry.
And I think medical students all around the world will thank you for not having to operate on cadavers to find all the pieces of the body. Pedro, if they wanted to find out more about this technology, more about Seabury, where can they go?
Well, Sibri, we're actually a company based in Spain, Sibri.es, and the product Soldamatic is soldamatic.com. You can just get information there, and we sell all over the world, really. So, you guys are welcome to try.
Thank you again for speaking with us. And remember, if you need some training, if you want to build something, get augmented.
Actually, that looks like the helmet from what was that? It was like from 20 years ago. There was a high performance game that your head was like a sniper rifle.
No, what? That doesn't make any sense. Why would your head be a sniper rifle?
Because you like aim and stuff.
No, I have no idea what game that would be.
I will find the game, and
you know
will say,
what
okay.
you look like? You look like if Darth Vader had been mauled by like a garbage compactor or something.
Oh, actually, it was like GLaDOS from Portal, a little bit, like but
a little
in
bit,
black,
a little bit.
Whatever.
So, well, you played with it. I didn't get to use it, but you said you had done aluminum with it, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that wasn't a good choice as your first metal.
Probably not. Yeah, I mean, I've been TIG welding for a while, and I still can't do aluminum. Aluminum is so hard. You have to be really good, and you have to be very confident with aluminum, because aluminum is so easy to burn through.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, well, I'll try to fix it. I'll add some material, and then you burn through more, and it ends up.
So having actually welded and then using this, how close did it feel?
It took a while to get used to it, just because the angle wasn't right. I wasn't wearing the helmet right, so I couldn't
story of your life,
tell
right?
where I was putting the wand. I was like, where's this thing? Good. But it was pretty dang close. Okay. I mean, that's the cool thing about the augmented, because even though, as you could see from the camera, outside you can't see anything, inside it was giving me the blinding sparks that I would normally see.
Right.
Which,
and then I saw you from the outside perspective.
Yeah, going, where is Also, I think there was a tiny little problem with the calibration, because at one point, like, I had it on the weld, and in the thing, it had the spark about an inch above, and I'm like, oh, it did something wrong.
Yeah, if that happened in the real world, you'd be like, something's wrong with the Matrix.
It's a glitch. It's a glitch. They changed something. Okay, but yes, so obviously there are educational aspects to augmented reality, to virtual reality, and I think we're going to see more and more of that. There are so many industries that could benefit from having a risk-free, really easy, replayable training session.
Well, like, some of the other things we saw were the helmets that would show you the disassembly of a motor. Like, it would show you the part of the motor that might have needed maintenance, and then it would show the exploded view of it, like, off of the motor, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, like, that's a really cool practical use.
Yeah. Eric Duckman in the chat room is saying his boss could weld an aluminum can back together. I've seen someone do that, like cut an aluminum can in half and then weld the seam. I have no idea how they do that, but I mean, it takes skill, a lot of skill.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen bad welding, and I've seen really good welding.
All of my welding is bad welding.
It looks like bubble gum, like when it's perfect. Oh, it's an art. It's definitely an art.
I mean, I've tried everything. I've done, like, okay, just tack and then do it nice and smooth. I always end up screwing that up. My welds work. I mean, they hold things together, but I wouldn't want people to see them.
Right.
There are people I know who weld, who I say, don't polish that out. Like, let everyone see that weld, because it is gorgeous.
Yeah, especially on like a nice exhaust or something. But I'm kind of getting the sense that your soldering skills are similar to your welding skills.
Pretty much. For me, it works. It's just not pretty.
Yeah. Well, we need to do an augmented VR soldering for wires.
Soldering wires. Okay, that might be
pushing it. Yeah.
Oh, when we come back, we are going to take you to the most recent live event that we did, E3. That's the Electronic Entertainment Exposition at the Staples Centers in Los Angeles. Brian and I were down there along with Greg Burnett and
little brother.
And another Jesuit. We had 2 Jesuits on the crew. That was kind of weird. A little strange.
Yeah, but you know, kind of like you would never know. He's just a really nice guy.
He's kind of chill. Actually, wow.
Just kidding.
We are done. Professionally, we are done.
How dare you? Yeah, Martin. Martin, what was his last name?
No.
Yeah, that's actually was his last name.
That's actually his name.
Yeah,
Martin.
No. Yeah, that was super nice guy, and he borrowed the camera and he immediately clicked with it, and he got all the B-roll. Like, sometimes you have to be like, hey, can you get B-roll of this? He would just go and do it himself. He's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we've worked with camera people who, you have to tell them to go take B-roll.
Right. Kind of like at Augmented World.
Yeah, it was like, oh, no, go get that, go get that.
I know, right? It's almost like they're working the board right now.
I know. When we come back, we're going to bring you to the E3 coverage. Specifically, we want to drop you into the Microsoft booth because, for my money, that was the most fun part of E3 because they had so many on-hand demos.
Yes, they had the big lines of the different booths with all the developers were there with their games and stuff, and you could hop in and play those games. And they just, I don't know, Microsoft did it right with the presentation. They just like let it all out there, basically.
Right. But before we do that, let's go ahead and thank another sponsor because, you know, here on Know How, we are all about putting things out there.
That's right.
The most beautiful work that we do. We want our portfolios. We want our websites. We want the servers and the software that we create to be available. Of course, to make it available in the old world, that would be my world, would require quite a bit of work. You'd have to buy the hardware and the software, configure it. You'd have to get a colo to put it into. You'd have to make some sort of contract with an ISP to get bandwidth, and probably, if you're going to do financial transactions, some sort of financial institution to make sure that you could do it securely. And then you'd have to hire someone to make sure that it all stays secure. Well, you could still do that if you hate money and your time. Yeah. Or you could just use DigitalOcean. DigitalOcean is the easiest way to get your project, your portfolio, your website, your applet, whatever it may be, onto the internet. Now, DigitalOcean understands developers. That's why it's used by over 600,000 of them, including Twit's Randall Schwartz, Aaron Newcomb, and myself. DigitalOcean lets us deploy and configure our droplets via a streamlined control panel or a simple API. This means that we can take the container, whatever it is that we need to get on the internet, and we can deploy it on a single CPU, maybe 10 CPUs, a dozen CPUs, 1,000 CPUs. Deploy it locally or deploy it worldwide. It's all the same to DigitalOcean. You get to choose your OS. Do you like Ubuntu, CentOS, Debian, Fedora, CoreOS, or FreeBSD? Well, you get to choose them, as well as many pre-configured one-click installs like Drupal, Docker, and Node.js. It lets you get up and running quickly, or because they give you root access with 100% SSDs and state-of-the-art data centers around the world, you can build the exact infrastructure that you need. It's also highly scalable to meet the demands of a rapidly growing application or business. You could start with just one CPU for a few hours and then move to global deployment with the move of a slider in your control panel. One of the things that I really, really love about DigitalOcean is the fact that their user base is so active in the forums. It means that they love the service so much that they're willing to come back and use their own time to answer questions of the people who are new to the service or the people who are maybe trying to do something unique. For example, running a Minecraft server for you and your friends and then expanding it across the world when you think your world is ready to be shared. It's so easy to get started, you can deploy an SSD cloud server in as little as 55 seconds. Folks, why aren't you using DigitalOcean? We're going to give you another reason to use it, and that is it's going to be free. DigitalOcean has incredibly affordable and straightforward pricing with servers starting at just $5 per month. And again, there's also hourly pricing available starting at less than a penny per hour. But we're going to make it so that you can get started today and deploy an SSD cloud server for free. Just visit DigitalOcean.com and create an account. Once you confirm your email and account information, go to the billing section and enter the promo code KNOWHOW for a free $10 credit. That's plenty to get started and explore what DigitalOcean can do for you. That's DigitalOcean.com, DigitalOcean.com. And once you sign up, enter the code KNOWHOW in the billing section to get your $10 credit for free. A better world awaits with DigitalOcean, and we thank them for their support of Know How. Hey, Brian.
Yo.
What was your favorite game at the Microsoft booth?
Ooh, favorite game. It would have to be Gears of War 4.
Yeah, that looked pretty
I ended up, on the second day, I got to see a theater presentation of it where they had it running on 4K on a PC, and they also had it running on the new Xbox One S in an HDR screen. The HDR screen looked cool. And it ran really well, and they were both playing in the same game together. And so actually, you know, I think our technical director might be a really big Gears of War fan, but what? Is that a Gears of War t-shirt she's wearing? Oh, geez, she's trying to outdo us as a
That's the reason why she was really upset that she didn't come. She's like, you're going to see Gears of War? Wait, what? You don't even play it.
No. So that got me excited, and the the other reason I was excited is that the cross-platform play.
Oh yeah.
And if you buy one game digitally, like through the Xbox online store, then you can play it on your
Everywhere.
Xbox and on your PC.
Which is how it always should have been, and
Right.
I'm so happy that we're finally getting to that.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, I shouldn't have to re-buy the same game because I want to play it on my mobile device and my PC.
And I want to be able to play with my PC friends. But what was your favorite?
Probably my favorite would have to be, I was really big into Halo 2. Halo Wars 2, the real-time strategy game. That thing was incredible.
Looked pretty cool.
Also, Sea of Thieves looks pretty dang good as a co-op game.
It does.
Yeah, so there were a couple.
If nobody has heard of what Sea of Thieves is, it's a pirate game where is it 6 people? It's a 6-player multiplayer co-op kind of thing, and
it's like a Project Artemis.
Yes.
It's basically the same thing. So any person cannot do all the tasks.
Right.
There's a captain. There's someone up in the crow's nest. There's people manning the guns. There's people down below who are repairing
the
and you
ship.
can shift tasks. But the cool thing about that game is if anyone tries to lone wolf it, your team dies. That's just how it works.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's the option to lone wolf it, but you're not being a very good team player. You probably get scurvy or something like that.
Exactly. But that wasn't the only goodness at the Microsoft booth. We actually got to go upstairs to the super secret special balcony of the Microsoft booth and speak with one of their execs about the future of Microsoft in gaming.
We're high above the West Hall here at E3 at the Microsoft booth, and I have the privilege of speaking with Letty, who's going to explain what Microsoft has brought to the party. Letty, yesterday was an interesting day with the Microsoft PR event, all the things that you announced, the different console, the different games. It's kind of overwhelming. Tell me, where should we start?
Well, at the Xbox briefing yesterday, we really talked about 3 key things. It was about our devices that are coming, Xbox Live, and games. So maybe we start with the devices. Does that work?
Yeah, let's do that. So tell me about, everyone's talking about the new consoles. What are they and why are they?
Perfect. So we announced 2 new Xbox One consoles coming in the Xbox One family. The first one is Xbox One S, which is a console that's now 40% smaller than the last one. It's slim, it's sleek. The power brick, it used to be a very big power brick, and people have asked to put it inside, so it's now inside. It has HDR gaming, which is great, because it'll bring all games to life in such a vibrant way, as well as it has a 4K for video streaming, as well as for Blu-ray discs, so I think the 4K UHD is great if they're a movie lover. So that one is coming, and it's starting this summer, and it starts at $299. So it's really a great thing for anyone who doesn't have an Xbox yet, or if they want another one in their house, that's a great way to go.
I'm just going to say that a lot of people don't realize how significant that is. At that price point, you can now get a console that does 4K and does, and this is important, HDR. Some of the titles and some of the content that I've seen in HDR has absolutely blown me away. And I think once people start seeing HDR, they're not going to want to go back. But that's not the only hardware. Tell me about the new hotness.
That's right. And just to add one point to your point, with the HDR, I mean, my favorite is with Gears of War 4 in HDR. Like, it's so beautiful. So definitely suggest that. So the other thing, we gave a little tease to something further in the future. It's coming next holiday, which is called Project Scorpio. It's also a part of the Xbox One family of consoles. That means that all of these will use same games, will work across all of them, the same devices, so the controller will work with all of them. This one is going to be true 4K gaming, so the most powerful console we've ever made. It has 6 teraflops, so it is so powerful, and it's what's needed for really true 4K gaming, as well as it'll be great for high fidelity VR as well.
Microsoft has done incredibly well with the hardware. I mean, it's affordable now, it's high powered, and it can pretty much do everything from gaming to content watching. But one of the things that I really got excited by at the press release was all of the new live offerings, specifically the ability to play across platforms. This is something that gamers have been waiting for years. It doesn't matter what you're playing on, you can play with each other. How does that work?
So the first thing that we announced was Xbox Play Anywhere, which means that you can buy your game once, whether on Xbox One or Windows 10, and you can play it on the other one, and there's shared saves, same achievements that go through. So if you want to start the game on one of the devices, say I started it on my console and I went to work and there's traffic, I didn't want to go home, I can stay and restart the game right from where I was on that, and it's one price point for both. So that was nice. And then we're also working to bring Xbox Live across multiple devices. So on our stage, for example, we showed Minecraft Realms, and we showed someone playing on the Surface, someone playing on an iPad, and someone playing on Gear VR. We had John Carmack from Oculus on our stage demoing it, and they were all playing together. So it's the first time we're trying to make it so it's not about what network you're on, what device you have. We want people to have choice of who they play with, where they want to play, regardless of device.
And that just makes sense because so much of this is hosted in the cloud, and Microsoft has built out its infrastructure so much over the last few years that it's nice to be able to turn the key and show that Microsoft can do this better than anyone. In fact, really is the only one that can do this at this scale. All right, now behind me, the sea of green and pixels is an amazing assortment of new games. Can you tell me about some of the highlights? What are some of your favorites? I mean, for me, it's got to be, my sleeper hit, the Ship of Thieves. I love the concept of co-op where people have to take on different tasks. But what are some of the more popular titles?
I totally agree. So Sea of Thieves is one of our new titles and so much fun. It's just such a big, expansive world. Recore is also a new title that's coming out that looks like it's just a magical story, great characters. Some of the biggest franchises that we have, like Gears of War 4, which people have been in so much anticipation waiting for, will be out this holiday, as well as Forza Horizon 3, which is based in Australia. It's bigger and better than ever before. So many choices of cars. It represents Australia really well, and it looks like a lot of fun. We have Halo Wars 2 that's coming early next year, which I know any Halo fan is going to be really excited for. Scalebound, if you love dragons, Titan, yeah, there's just so many great titles. And we also talked about some really great indie titles, things like Cuphead and Inside and We Happy Few. It's just so much choice of the different types of games you want to play.
Let's talk a little bit about the indie titles, because everyone knows the Titanfalls. Everyone knows, the next Tekken. Everyone knows all the exclusives that are coming. But walking down the indie aisle, you get to see games where you're just looking going, oh, how does that work? Or oh, that's interesting art. What does Microsoft do to encourage those developers to come into the Live family?
So we have a program called ID at Xbox, and it's really working with as many developers as possible to help bring their titles to life on our platform. There's so much creativity out there with some of the smaller independent studios and so much rich content. So we've really worked with as many of them as we can to help highlight their content, whether they're first on Xbox or exclusively on Xbox. But I'm really excited for Cuphead. That one just looks so much fun.
Yeah, we actually interviewed one of the animators, and we were saying how it's like Steamboat Willie versus R-Type. It's so strange and weird and wonderful. Now, for someone who might be seeing this for the first time, this can be a little bit overwhelming. What would you want to tell them? Coming into the Xbox family, coming in and experiencing everything from being delivered the latest shows and movies over the console to the latest in gaming, where would you want them to start? What would you want them to walk away from E3 knowing about Microsoft?
I think the biggest thing we want from Xbox for people to know is we just want gaming to be fun for everyone, and that there is choice for everyone, whether it's the choice of all of the different games that they can play, whether it's the choice of which console they want. Do they want the original Xbox One? Do they want the Xbox One S? Do they want the premium Project Scorpio? And to let them play with their friends and the people that they want to play with that are shared interests of games that they have. So just making gaming really fun so they can choose who they play with on whatever network, on whatever device.
Letty, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for sharing some of this news, this wonderful news about Microsoft. I think now the rest of the crew is going to go down and do a little bit of testing.
You know, there are people who say that both Microsoft and Nintendo Osborne themselves, because so Nintendo.
So for those of us who were born after 1980, what's the Osborne?
The Osborne effect. It's a very famous case study in IT history, and that is when you are releasing a product, you do not announce the next product,
right?
Because then nobody buys the product that you've released, and you now have a bunch of unsold stock. That's a bad thing to do. That actually killed Osborne computers. Nintendo, they've got the brand new Zelda game, Call of the Wild, which is awesome. It looks really good.
Neat. The physics are cool. Yeah.
Right, but and your brother saw this. You could tell that the Wii U it doesn't have the horsepower. They've done a really good job of squeezing everything out of it, but there are certain times when the frame gets really active and it just starts to chug.
Right.
And so they said, but next year we're releasing the NX, and that thing will be crazy powerful. So people are going, well, why would I buy this and a Wii U if I'm just wait for the NX?
You wouldn't.
And Microsoft has the Xbox One S, which it does up the spec, so it's 4K. Yeah. It does HDR, which looks incredible if you have an HDR TV. But they're going to have the Project Scorpio next year at the end of 2017. So people are saying
they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit.
I think less so for Microsoft, because even if Scorpio is a lot more powerful, because it's basically, it's also 4K ready, it also does HDR, but it adds VR ready, so it should work with VR headsets. I could still see the use for a $300 Xbox. And that's the low price of the S. Of the 500 gigabyte model will be $299. I might actually buy it at that price. And the new one, when it comes out, it's probably going to be $550, so maybe even $600.
Right. And some people were pointing out in the chat room that the S being at $399 isn't an affordable console machine, but I would make the argument that it playing at 4K with the 2 terabytes and the smaller size, it's not like a gaming PC replacement, but it's like a definitely step up. And for someone like me, I bought the original Xbox. My TV that I have is a 50-inch and it only does 720. Yeah. And so like this isn't an upgrade for me. This is something for like someone who's maybe been on the fence, you know.
Yes, because I don't have an Xbox One, so this might actually make me buy an Xbox One.
This would be the one you would want to get.
This would be the one I want.
Right.
And remember, the $399 one, that's the one that's first coming out. So in August, that version will be available. It's the 2 terabyte model. A little bit after that, they're going to have the 1 terabyte and the 500 gigabyte model, and that will go for $349 and $299. So if you're looking for an affordable Xbox One, it is coming.
Yes, yes. And if you're someone that wants the console experience but not have to pay the PC price, it sounds like the Scorpio will
be pretty good. Yeah, and it is nice and small. It is slim. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up our coverage here, especially from E3, with a look at the hardware that I found the most interesting. Now, we first saw this at CES. Oh, I'm sorry, I saw this at CES.
You saw this at CES, but I think we spent maybe 2 minutes on the E3 floor before my eye immediately went over to that booth, and I was like, LEDs?
Yeah, we love it. If you've ever wanted a Ultrabook that can also be your gaming notebook, you're going to want to check out Razer.
Conventional wisdom tells you that you need 2 types of computers. You need a laptop to be mobile, to be portable, and you need a desktop to give you that power. Well, here at Razer, they take conventional logic and they throw it out the window. I'm speaking with Kevin Sather from Razer, who's going to explain why they've got the ultra-portable, ultra-powerful Razer and Core. Kevin, we first saw this at CES and it blew us away, both with its styling, with its power, and its price point. Tell me a little bit about the Razer Stealth and about the Core.
Yeah, so start off with the Razer Blade Stealth. It's our ultimate Ultrabook, starting at just $999, but packed with a Core i7 processor, 8 gigs of dual-channel memory, and PCI Express SSD in there. So you get a lot of performance while you're on the go. You get a great display. There's an up to a 4K option, also a Quad HD option. Both are touchscreen enabled, of course. And then one other really cool feature on there is the Chroma keyboard. So it was our first notebook ever that we equipped with our Chroma keyboard. Gives you 16.8 million colors per key, so it gives you a huge range of possibilities for customizing it, as well as integrating with games such as Overwatch and other popular titles.
Now, one of the things that I have known Razer for is you make ultra high performance computers. I mean, it's always been the sort of the salivating worthy hardware that you just want for your gaming. But in this, you've really made a device that I could use for business. I could take this to the office. It fits in perfectly well with all the other executive Ultrabooks, and then I take it home and I plug in the Core and I'm good to go. What is the Core?
So the Razer Core is basically an external desktop graphics device. So basically it's an enclosure that allows you to put in a desktop graphics card, connect it through Thunderbolt 3 using USB Type-C, and then harness the power of that graphics card combined with the power of the notebook from the CPU side and have some really great desktop gaming experiences without having to have, like you said earlier, 2 separate PCs.
This is a geek wet dream, because for years and years and years, I've known in the maker community, we have different ways of bodging together some sort of connectivity between a laptop and a video card. That's the ultimate docking station. The idea that you leave the heavy things that require a lot of power, a lot of cooling, a lot of weight, at home, and then you just take the core computer with you, and you've actually executed it here. Now, tell me, what are the considerations when you're designing something like this? How does Razer put together a computer? How do you put together an ultimate notebook?
Yeah, so it starts off with getting a lot of feedback from our fans. So we always are in constant communication with them, asking them, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What do you want to see from us next? And really what we kind of started to discover was there are a lot of people that they either have a desktop rig that they're happy with, but they want a notebook that appeals to their lifestyle. So that's a great solution where they can still have 2 PCs. But we also realize there's some people that want to have an ultra portable notebook. They want to have a desktop gaming experience, but they don't want the burden of having to manage 2 separate systems. So that's where the concept really kind of got a foothold with us, and we said, you know what, there's a lot of really cool use cases for this. Gaming obviously being one of our favorite uses for it, but also video editing and other things that require a lot of graphics performance. Now you have that option to have that without sacrificing the mobility of the notebook and still have that great desktop experience at home.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Even though this was designed to be an at-home device, you come home, it's connected to all your peripherals because you can hook up your USB devices to the core as well. It also doubles as the charger for the notebook, so it's literally a 1-cable connection. But as a video editor, I would love to carry that extra power with me, have the notebook on me, have the core in my check-in luggage, and I've got a desktop workstation for me to edit while I'm on the go. Let's move past this because, of course, this is E3, and the hot game of E3 is Overwatch. It's breaking records. It's got people playing it in droves. I know Razer has made some Overwatch-specific peripherals. Can you tell me about those?
Yeah, definitely. So we've got that shown off here. We've got our Black Widow keyboards, the Overwatch edition here. So it's got the theme, colors and some of the logos and everything with it. Still the same great keyboard you expect from Razer with our mechanical keyboard switches. It's also Chroma enabled. So we took it a step further. Not only did we integrate the look and feel of Overwatch into the design of the peripherals from a physical design, but we also integrated Chroma into the game as well. So when you're selecting a character, it'll change colors on the keyboard and the other Chroma devices. When your ultimate's ready, it'll flash that key letting you know it's ready to go. So a lot of really cool integration that developers can do with the power of Chroma that spans not only to the peripherals, but also the notebook has that Chroma keyboard built in as well.
This is all great tech. If they wanted to find out more about this Ultrabook, about that core, about your gaming peripherals, where would be the best place for them to go?
Best place to go is razorzone.com. It's our webpage where you can find all the information about our products. Also links to our store there where you can purchase all the great stuff you see here today.
Kevin, thank you very much for speaking with us. Thank you for sharing the tech. And remember, if you are looking for the ultimate portable gaming experience, nothing cuts as deep as a Razer.
See what I did there?
That was a good pun. That was a good one, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Cut deep.
I'd been saving that one up for years.
I wonder, you have these written down and you save them for the end?
I wish I did, but most of the time it's just like, I get to within 10 seconds of the end of the interview, I'm like, oh, I should think of something to say.
I'm going to say this.
Yeah. There we go. Now, I still love my Acer S7. It's still my Ultrabook of choice. The battery life is a little bit longer than what I would get from a Razer notebook. But if I was up to buy another one, that would be the one I would get.
Actually, we kind of had this discussion earlier that I could use a new portable editing machine.
Yes.
In case we do go on an event like this, and I just so happen to have to edit or game, then maybe I should ask for this laptop as a work laptop, and then if I plug in the graphics card, I could churn out so many videos or play Overwatch.
Well, the ultimate use of this for me would be to have the Ultrabook. So the Ultrabook is what I would carry in my carry-on luggage. The core, which is shoebox size, it's not that heavy, would go into my check-in luggage. And then I would just get a USB monitor. And the cool thing is the USB monitor would plug into the core because it has 4 USB ports on the back. One connection to the Ultrabook gives me power, connectivity to all the peripherals. Now I have a multiple monitor setup with the power of like a GTX 1080 inside of it.
Right.
That thing is hot. I want that.
And, it's hard to tell on the video, but it cannot be stressed enough how attention to detail it was on the core.
Yes.
I almost want that to just be its own little PC, like a little portable PC that you carry around, because the graphics card is basically the whole thing, and it's lit up inside, and the outside of the case is kind of like milled aluminum, and it just looks really nice.
Well, it's Razer, and that's what they're known for. They don't just make another notebook or another accessory. Their stuff looks pretty good. It's very well styled.
Definitely. It's like it's like Apple quality, but cool.
Wow.
Ouch.
You just really ticked off a lot of our fans.
No, because there are a few coming. Your machine is very slick, and it definitely has like a nice detail to it.
I like the look of it. It's, yeah.
Right, but you know, there's certain laptops that we've reviewed in the past that, you know, they don't really have the nice like unibody design and design, not architecture, but like the same motif across all their things. And I feel like Razer has done a good job of keeping that same like enthusiast like PC, but with a very deliberate design that looks really neat. And I'm a sucker for LEDs, so.
I want more.
They put them on everything. The keyboard, do you see the keyboard that does like the rainbow effect? I mean, probably the most distracting thing ever if you ever were trying the game.
But it still looks cool.
But you could do a dance rave with it or something.
Know-how, raving since 2016.
Absolutely.
Well, folks, we know that this has been a lot of information, but we're going to make it easy for you to find out more. If you want to see anything about any of these products, you can always go to the show notes of every episode. Brian, where are they going to find that?
Oh, they can find them at twit.tv/KH. And not only will they find the show notes and, well, I guess no links today for the things that we talked about, but typically...
We'll throw some stuff in there.
We'll throw some stuff in there. But typically, if we're doing a project build or something, you'll find links to the parts that you need. And also handy links for subscribing to the video of your choice and download options.
By the way, I should mention, if you're watching this on Monday, today is the last day. If you have an Xbox One, you can get you can get Halo Wars 2 for free. You can get into the beta. This is the last day for you to get in. So
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going home.
You gotta go. Yeah, exactly. So if you're watching us, stop the video right now. Go over to your Xbox Live and download it because it's. Pretty,
I'm doing that when I get
got
home.
some hands-on time. It's fun. It's a fun game.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh man, I missed out on that. The trailer looks
You gotta hang
awesome,
with me,
though.
man. You gotta hang with me. Also, you can find us on our community in Google+. That's probably the best way for you to see what we've been doing and to add projects of your own. Just go to Google+ and look for Know-How. Once you're in, because there is an approval process just to keep out the spammers, but you'll be able to see the projects that the know-it-alls have been working on. You'll be able to see the successes and the failures. And if you're an expert, maybe you can lend a little bit of your expertise to the newish folk who are members of our community.
That's right. There's nothing we like more than seeing people do our own projects, but better.
Yes, please.
But that's not the only place you can find us. If you want to see what we're doing when we go to the events like E3, we posted a few pictures from
Mostly
that.
messing around. We mess around a lot.
Around. Yeah. You can follow us on Twitter. I am at cranky_hippo.
And I am at PadreSJ. And our director...
Or technical director.
Our technical director...
Go ahead, director. That's fine.
Kara Cole.
I thought it was Kara.
No.
Kara.
Kara Thrace.
Kara.
Cool.
Oh, it's Kara.
Kara, what's your Twitter?
At Kara080, which 080 means nothing. Don't ask.
Don't look into that at all?
Don't look into that.
No, it
It makes it sound even more mysterious.
I'll tell you later.
Oh, one of those.
Exactly.
Okay.
Until next time, I'm Father Robert Balacer.
And I'm Brian Burnett.
And now that you know how.
Go game. Fist bump. Boom. Yeah. She is a director.
The end every time you got a fist bump because TNT they high five. This is my new show now. Temporarily, just fist
but
bump
can we
while I do
high
it.
five?
Alex?
No.
Can we high five without looking at each other?
You have to miss. That's
so
what the
can't
chat
look
room
at
said
each
earlier.
other and.
Oh, you
boom.
did it. High five. Okay, fine. That's fine.
Should we do it again?
Actually, hold short. So ready, and then ready, freeze.
You can't.
You
stop
can't skip this
movie.
episode of Know How
This
because it's already over.
There you go. Now slightly move. There you go.